Welcome, my friends, to the next episode of Wild Will's Adventures. Yes, as you saw in the last episode, I did indeed build a boat. Still have some things to do to it, but it could be put in the water and be tested right this moment as is. Uh, Before we get on to what I'm doing with that, two things. One, my trivia question of the episode. What is Scotland's national animal? I just saw this one and I thought it was pretty cute. Secondly, I need suggestions on what to name this boat. I have some in my head, but if someone suggests one and I pick it, I will work to get them out here to go fishing with me. Won't be today, it won't be tomorrow, won't be until I have some money, but I will work on it to get them to come out and go fishing with me if they come up with a good name for the boat. As you see, I'm out in the front right now. You can tell by the window behind me. I am going to be moving to the backyard very shortly and going to be painting the deck. That is the next step in the process. So let's, through the magic of video, get out there. And boom, through the magic of video editing, here I am out at the boat. Today I'm going to be masking off and working on the side areas, painting them red. I was afraid of this. I'm out of tape. I have to go to the hardware store and get some new masking tape. Well, all the masking is done, so now it's time to paint. Hey, good morning, everyone. Well, last night it rained cats, dogs, and small children. I mean, it poured. So, for the first time since they've been put in, the bins had closable lids with the rubber seals. Time to see if they work, because I left the boat closed up but not covered. I wanted to test how the seals worked and the lids being locked. So, here goes nothing. Let's see what we got. Number one. Actually, not bad. Pretty dry. Pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, that's live well. It didn't, but it's the only one that can take water. That one's pretty full. And I'm sure these ones are too. Yeah. That's not good. Yep. Not good, not good, not good. May have to redo the rubber seals.
You don't say. You don't say. You don't say.
Yeah. Okay, well, time to clean them out. So as you can see, I've put in a drain hole here on this side, and there's one on that side now. I have the two in the back, right, where's my finger? Right there, and on the other side. And I'm gonna put two in there because that place collects water. No! Yeah, I'll have to get that out. Am I? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Voila, I am done. I have the fuel pump hooked up to the fuel filter, which then traces around, brings the line underneath, over here and up to where it attaches to the engine. Now I just got to figure out how to get it quick disconnect on it off of the tank to the fuel filter. I'm really beginning to hate the recording issues with this phone. So last night, when I last left you 24 hours ago, I had started an experiment to see if I could get silicone stuck to wood, painted wood. I was using 3 adhesives, Gorilla Glue, 3M90, and silicone caulk. I tested them, none of them worked. So I decided to come over here and look at the lid. I put the foam weather seal on and check that. That looked good, so we will now jump to me pouring water over it to test it. This will simulate a heavy rain or a wave crashing over the deck. While I wait for that to settle, I'm going to vacuum off the rest of the boat because I want to paint some red today. I poured a couple gallons on that hatch, and very little went in there. Actually, some of it didn't go in until I opened up the lid and it dribbled off the handle. But you'll see when I vacuum how little is in there. Wasn't even enough to cover the entire bottom, so I'm very happy. I'll be using that stuff as the as my lid sealant, the foam rubber. I'm going to go ahead and paint the second coat of red, and you don't need to watch that. Well, coat number 2 is on. Boat looks pretty damn good if you ask me. I have more than enough paint to do a third coat. I'm just going to let it sit for now and see if that's what I want to do, is put a third one on. But I think it's looking good. I just need to get that piece of crap working. I'm not German, but Guten Morgen, folks. So, let's start off with a little trivia. What's the name for a group of flamingos? So today, and maybe the next couple days, my job is going to be to get that thing running. First thing I'm going to do is take it off. I don't know. I had it running before. I need to take it off. Probably attach it to a base and then try and figure out why it's not running, or get it running. Then put it back on the rest of the motor. And I hope to do a better job than those funky things I have there. I gotta figure this out and work on it some more. So let's get started by trying to take it off. Just in a different place than where they normally are. Yeah, I thought that one broke. So the connection point for this side broke when I was trying to start it the other day. Oh, wonderful. This whole starter mechanism broke. I've got pieces of it here. Crap. Well, that's a problem. Well, the fact that my pull mechanism is in several pieces here. Yeah. Yeah, as you can see, it is pretty much broken. I'm going to have to figure out how to get a new one. That could be why it was so hard to pull. Hello everyone, how you doing? Starting off today's recording a little bit on the somber side. So, I know you guys can tell that it's a different day when I'm doing a new recording, but I don't know if you can tell how long it's been between recordings. Sometimes it's just a few hours, or in the case of today, it has been at least 2 weeks. Because I've been dealing with the sudden death of my younger brother. Thank you for the well wishes. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for people to make a big deal out of it. It's just something I've been dealing with. So it has been a while since I've done any recording, and not much has been done on the boat. But now, on to the boat. Oh, first, let's see if we can come up with some trivia. Something lighthearted. What language does the word zombie come from, and what does it actually mean? It's kind of not what you might think. Okay, so when last we left our intrepid boat builder, me, I believe the last thing you saw was I had removed the engine from the outboard shaft, the lower end, so that I could work on getting it running. So if you remember, I had gone to pull start and it broke. It broke in here. So this is called a Paul friction plate, because the little things that squirt out here, these little catches are called Pauls. P-A-W-L. I think I've explained this before. So this friction plate is what had broken and caused it to be able to be not pulled. I studied what was left of that friction plate, tried to make my own. As you can see, when it turns, it does indeed push out the Pauls, but I can't get it to secure on there enough so that when I pull this, it works correctly. But as it turned out, that was not the problem. There was a secondary, even bigger problem. Now, what I've done is I have attached, so because I have a bad shoulder, and I hated pulling the starter, because that hurt, I went out and got myself a 12-volt tractor starter. I've adapted it to the flywheel here. What they did was add a trigger that cracks the valve enough to allow the piston to compress the gases in there to do the initial fire, which once it fires, the motion of the pistons and the flywheel going around are enough to overcome that little pressure, and that valve doesn't trigger anymore. So I figure that's the problem, is that my compression relief trigger on the crankshaft is broken. So what does that mean? That means either I get a new crankshaft, or I get a new engine. So what I've decided today is I'm going to open this sucker and check if that trigger on the crankshaft is really a problem or not. So I'm going to flip the motor over, take off the bottom of it, and like I said, check the crankshaft and see if that trigger is really an issue or not. Okay, first thing I got to do is drain this oil. I've already removed the spark plug. I need to make sure that most of, if not all of the oil is out of here. Put the plug back in so that I don't have oil just dripping out randomly. Okay, I've got it turned over. I've got the bolts cracked. But it's past 10, so you know what time it is. And don't look, because I always put the creamer in first. Now, don't judge me. I use powdered Coffee Mate creamer. But you put it in before, because if you put it in after an iced coffee, it looks like crap. Doesn't affect the taste, it just looks like crap. Yeah, what I'm going to need to do is something I forgot about. I'm going to need to remove my connector here. The title of this episode is called, Will It Run? Well, the answer to that question at this time is a resounding, no, it bleeping won't. I've taken apart the internals. I'm still checking on whether that compression delete or compression release is working, viable. Everything looks great. There were no parts floating around in the middle of the engine. So, but, oh well. Next episode, we'll see what happens. Please like, comment, subscribe. You know, I'm trying to build a YouTube channel. Doesn't seem to be going too fast or too strong, but I would love to see a lot more people join. Anyways, may all your adventures be safe and fun. So I was on Craigslist and just happened to find someone who had literally, within 10 minutes, had posted about a free 179cc engine on a power washer, which is a bottom shaft or a vertical shaft engine. So I'm on my way to Dover, Mass right now to grab it for free. It's about 5 to 6 horsepower.